Today, on the Vince Everett Ellison Show, we're going to talk about the Democratic Party getting involved in the dope game. That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, you guys make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment on this channel, because they're going to try to block me like these tech people always do, but we're not going to allow it. So they're going to talk about the Democratic Party getting involved in the dope game today on the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, let's get this thing started. Yeah, I saw this movie, Belly, years ago. DMX was playing on it, playing this guy by the name of Buns. Buns made this statement. He said, ain't no money like dope money. But the Democratic Party has finally figured that out. Well, it's not finally. They've been in the dope game for a long time, but now they're going to make it legal. Yeah, man, I've seen some messed up stuff in my time. Real messed up stuff in my time. I worked in the penitentiary, so I saw a lot of messed up stuff. I saw murders, I saw killings, I saw rapes, I saw drug overdoses. But I have yet to see anybody as low down as these Democrats are. I mean, they're already trapping your children in failing schools. They're aborting half your babies. They're letting drugs and fentanyl and illegals come across the border, taking away your right to keep and bear arms to defend yourself. Won't let you pray to your God. God is not welcomed here. That's what they say. You know, and this is what they're doing now. We're not talking about the history of slavery from 1800 to 1860, Confederacy from 1860 to 1865, 100 years of Jim Crow after that. And now, just when you didn't think them suckers could go any lower, what do? They want to get involved in the dope game. I know what y'all saying. Oh, Vince Ellison lying. Vince Ellison tripping. Vince Ellison, always talking trash. He don't know what he's talking about. All right. You want me to show you? I'll show you. The Democratic Party has got these things that you might call, they call them safe injection centers. Yeah. What are these places? These are places that the Democrats set up so that junkies on the street can come to these places and smoke crack and inject heroin and do it safely. They can buy it. They supply them with all the paraphernalia and all the stuff so they can take the stuff and lay down and just have a good time. Now, y'all know what? I'm going to tell you something. From where I've lived all of my life and from what I know about this, that's called a crack house. It is a government-funded crack house. Let me tell you the definition of a crack house. This is the definition of a crack house. A crack house. A place where cocaine in the form of crack is bought, sold, and smoked. That's a crack house. What is a drug injection center? Well, supervised injection sites or drug consumption rooms are a health and social response to drug-related problems. They are fixed or mobile spaces where people who use drugs are provided with sterile drug use equipment and can use illicit drugs under the supervision of trained staff. That's a fancy way of saying it's a crack house. Except for this crack house, it's federally funded. Now, how did we get here? Let me tell you how we got here. On the streets, people started bringing in cocaine, crack cocaine. People was using the crack cocaine on the streets because usually when you get on this stuff, you can't afford a house. They smoking on the street. They fall out on the street. Police see him, take him to jail. When he start fiending bad enough, they're going to say, who'd you get the drugs from? And they're going to turn on the drug dealer. Tell them, well, this is where I got it from. They go pick him up. Well, the drug dealer got smart. He said, we need to find a way to allow these people to smoke this crack and not fall out on the street. so that the police don't pick them up and take them downtown and they turn us in. So one of these young entrepreneurs got a splendid idea. He said, I'm going to rent a house. And I'm going to have it where they can come to the house and buy the drugs and do the drugs in the house so that the police don't see them on the street. And I'm going to buy more than one of these houses. I'm going to buy them in almost every neighborhood in the community. Sometimes the houses are abandoned, but sometimes there are houses that they are renting. And you can come to that house, smoke the dope under their supervision, and just have a good old time. Well, Democrats got tired of these young black men making all this money. You know, they were just getting kickbacks and whatnot. Now they want the full game. So they call theirs drug injection centers, right? Just a crack house. Now, I've read to you the definition of these two places. You can look them up yourself. They got them. They tried to open up a couple in Philadelphia, but they wouldn't let them do it. They got them in San Francisco. They got them in Seattle. Matter of fact, in Portland, Oregon. These low-down people in Portland, Oregon allowed the whole city to turn into one big crack house. For a whole year, maybe 2 years, they just allowed these poor people fentanyl, dope, you name it. They were doing it on the streets, and drug deaths went up sky high. Now they want to pull it back because the people, not the politicians, the people said, no, we're tired of this. And guess who was behind the whole thing? They had this little proposition that went out, but people had to vote on allowing this to happen. You know who's behind it? George Soros and Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook. They were the ones behind this push in Portland to allow drugs to be legalized. And all of these people died. I know you don't believe me. Look it up. Look up what happened in Portland with all the drug legalization. Look up who was behind it. The Washington Post reported. The Washington Post reported. Wasn't me. So if it's a lie, the Washington Post told it. They said that Zuckerberg and George Soros was behind it. Now, why would they do that? Thousands of people have died behind this. Thousands of homes have been destroyed and families have been destroyed. Portland is in a shambles because of this. Anybody with any common sense would know that if you take away the punishment behind doing drugs in public, you're going to have more drug consumption in public. And he did. And lives were completely destroyed. And thousands of people died. But are they stopping? No. Full speed ahead. Democrats are now in the dope game. All the cities where this stuff is happening, whether it be San Francisco, whether it be Portland, whether it be Philly, whether it be New York, it is all controlled by Democrat politicians. Now, as I said before, how much lower can you go? And we still have people out there defending this evil institution. There are people that are listening at me right now, and I get the mail, I get the messages from y'all. Never have anything to do with any facts whatsoever, just a lot of low-down, dirty, mean stuff. I love reading it. Because the people who send it to me, I understand that you're stupid and you're ignorant. And you caught up in your feelings. You feel some type of way. Because I'm talking about your Democrat Party. Your feelings are hurt because I'm telling the truth. And you're wrapped up in the cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome. You can't take the pain. You can't take the truth. What he said, you can't handle the truth. That for the last 20, 30, 40 years of your life that you've been supporting Satan himself. You got some cities now that are legalizing prostitution. Yeah, trying to make it legal for your daughters to go out and sell themselves, sell their flesh on the street. Read a piece in the Post today by Fareed Zakaria. He's a writer, but he's also on CNN. He was talking about, and his piece was interesting, about the secularization of the United States of America. Fareed said that America in the 70s and the 80s was an outlier amongst all the other nations in the world, that we were industrialized, but we were still very, very religious. He said, but then something happened after 2007. He said that 70% of Democrats used to go to church 2 decades ago. Now it's about 46%. He said, our secularization and us giving up on religion hit an acceleration after 2007. What happened after 2007? Barack Obama became president of the United States. Oh, and they started pushing all of this LGBTQ, all of this abortion stuff. They started pulling God out of the public square. They started turning the races against one another. And now America is on a downward spiral of self-destruction. In order to destroy America, you must have to take out God and then drive it mad. Abraham Lincoln said that there will never be an army that could come across the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean and take America by force. We must live together as free men, or we will die by suicide. And right now, we are on that suicidal quest. It was John Adams that said, one of the founding fathers, after they had finished the Constitution, he said, this Constitution is designed for a moral and a religious people. It is wholly inadequate for any other. It was Machiavelli that said, the greatest princes in the world, they uphold institutions. They uphold marriage. They uphold religions. But the most detestable and the most horrible princes in the world are the ones that tear down institutions, tear down religions. And that's what the Democratic Party is. They've been tearing down every institution in this nation. Oh, it wasn't enough that they took out the family. You know, with welfare, they knew what they were doing. Ralph Abernathy said that in the book, And the Walls Came Tumbling Down, he said that he saw the trends where the black family was being destroyed by the welfare system, and he went to see the people in the black caucuses, people that he had helped get elected, and showed them the evidence of what it was doing to the black family. And he said in the book, he said something curious happened. He said it pleased them to see 3 generations of black people on welfare because they knew they could keep them under control. And that's when he endorsed Ronald Reagan for president in 1980 because they would not change it. And Ronald Reagan had done something in California to change it. We've been sleeping with the enemy, y'all. And now, you best believe that in their push to get into the dope game, there are a whole lot of black Democrats with their hands in the kitty getting some money out of this. You want to know why they want to defund the police? That's why they want to defund the police. You want to know why? They don't want your child to get a good education? That's why, because if your child get a good education, they won't be demoralized. They won't be frightened all the time. They won't be poor or broke. And so they have to inebriate themselves with these drugs. You know why they want to keep God out of the public square? Because our religion says that if you keep your mind on him, he'll keep you in perfect peace. But if you don't have God, you're suicidal. You got to look for a bottle. You got to look for the dope. You got to look for sex or something to keep you going. Yeah, you can't be a true blue Christian and have a crack pipe in your mouth. You can be a true blue Christian that believes in Jesus Christ and got a needle sticking out your arm looking for heroin. Federally funded crack houses is what the Democrat Party is pushing now. I wonder what they're going to do next. Federally funded prostitute houses so you can get some type of, like a food stamp to go have sex with a prostitute or something. I mean, everything that's good for you, they try to stop Everything that's bad for you, they try to accelerate. Oh man, if you want to go to church, no. Want to get a gun to defend yourself against the hoodlums in the street? No. Want to try to bring in jobs so people can work? No. Want to get law and order so people can sit safely in their homes? No. Oh, but if you want to keep a bad school going, they'll give you as much money as you can handle for that. Yeah, you want to have porn and pornography or LGBTQ somewhere, they'll do anything for that. They'll give you money, have a drag queen come and shake his behind and show some children's faces at school. And if you want to try to get guns away from the American people, get guns off the street, oh, they'll give you all the money for that, but they won't give you any, if you want to defend yourself. Oh, if you want to bring illegals over, Joe Biden will send down airplanes, send down buses, cut down the razor wire for you, blow up the debt gum wall. But if you want to make that border legal, no. Not going to do that. Want to make it, want to make sure they're secure? We're not going to do that. If you want to get off drugs or stop using them, forget that, but we'll do a safe house for you to come. And suck on that crack pipe as much as you want. Isn't it about time that you people woke up and just found out who you're dealing with? You're dealing with an evil institution. I mean, these guys turned around and saw that dope coming on the streets. Started seeing all these brothers riding around in big cars and all that gold around their neck. And they said, where's my cut? They got a cut. But just like all greedy people, the cut wasn't enough. They now want the whole thing. I mean, they want to do what the mafia did in Vegas. Vegas was this little one-horse town in the desert. They had a few shacks set up so people could come and roll dice, play a little cards, play a little poker. Bugsy Siegel set up the Flamingo, and the thing started rocking. They started bribing the officials in the state, made the thing that had been illegal all over the country, almost all over the world, legal in Las Vegas. And Vegas became Vegas. And now you can gamble on your iPhone. It's not just legal in Vegas anymore. It's legal all over the country. And the same people that owned it back in the 1930s and 40s, the mob, they still own it now. Just under new management. They're doing the same thing with drugs, y'all. It's going to start. They already doing it with marijuana. They have these dispensaries, marijuana dispensaries now in certain cities where you can just go and get a blunt, smoke it. They know what it does to the brains of children. They don't care. Now, they're going to give you hell about buying a cigarette. Oh, you go buy a cigarette, they're going to want to put you in jail in a few years. But they want to fix it where you can go buy all the hashish and all the marijuana and all the blunts you want and walk around stone cold inebriated. Cars running off the road, teachers coming in the classroom, high, children at school, high. They don't have a problem with that. Want to make it legal. Have made it legal. Now, since we've got, I've told you about the foot in the door technique. Let's start here. So we started with the marijuana. And now they want to go to heroin and crack cocaine. Lord have mercy. And you people are going to allow it? You know what? You deserve whatever you get. Because when I get on this channel and I tell you what these people are doing, and you hear it, and you still go and you vote for them, as I've said before, hell is a choice. Slavery is a choice. And you're choosing it every single day. I don't know what's wrong with you. It was easy for me. When I found out that the Democratic Party was part of abortion up to the 9th month, I was done with them. I was completely done with them. When I found out that this was the party that wanted to castrate little boys and call them little girls and give double mastectomies to little girls and call them little boys, trapping children in failing schools, refusing to educate them, taking away your guns in war zones. And then when you find out that of all the terrible things that they've done, the most egregious and the worst of all of them is when they put a stumbling block in front of you that will allow you to connect with your God. Make it illegal for you to pray, to have a Bible. Lord have mercy. I tell you this. I give you places where you can find it and look it up for yourself. I'll tell you about my books, The Iron Triangle, my book, 25 Lies, my book, Crime Inc., and my great documentary, Will You Go to Hell For Me? I give you tools to go to my website. Look it up. I have my talk shows. I have this show. Everything I tell you is true. Nevertheless, many of you will still go and vote for this evil institution. I tell you what, you're going to have to answer for it. If there is a God in heaven, and I know that there is, you are going to have to answer for this. A party that is evil enough to make a drug as dangerous and as murderous as crack cocaine and heroin legal on the street so that your children can grab it and go somewhere and use it under their supervision. Do you not understand how destructive and dangerous that is? Now, one of the reasons why people don't use drugs and use dope is because of what it does to you. You don't want to die on the street. You don't want to be out there laying out with dew and rain falling on you. You don't want to be homeless. You don't want any of these bad things to happen to you. And the Democrats say, don't worry about that. We're going to take the stigma off of it so you can just use all the dope you want. Going to bring it in by the truckload and give your son and your daughter a safe place to use it. And they don't have to tell you anything about it. Federally funded crack houses. Never thought I'd hear of such a thing in the United States of America. But you never thought you'd hear you never thought that you'd hear that Obamacare would pay for the sex change operation of a child, which, yeah, it does. Look it up. Yeah. We have a finite amount of money in our healthcare system. Children need glasses, children need braces, children need operations. Children just need to have a checkup. But instead, they're going to take that money and give it to a grown man that says, I want to be castrated. And I want to have to take hormones for the rest of my life so I can walk around thinking that I'm a woman. Instead of getting that guy the psychological help that he needs, the Democratic Party takes advantage of this person's trauma and leads his soul to hell and destruction. I'd be all for getting him psychological help because that's what the person needs. They've gone through something in their lives. Oh, but not the Democrat Party. No, they're going to take advantage of that. And they're going to tell him that everybody else is crazy. He's the one that makes sense. Now, if you walked into a hospital and said, hey, man, I think I'm a chicken. I want you to cut off my arms and give me wings. They say, oh, we're not going to do that. Well, I think I'm a bull. I want you to cut holes in my head and put horns on the top of my skull. Oh, we're not going to do that. But go in and say, I'm a man and I think I'm a woman. I want you to castrate me and put silicone breast implants in my chest and call me Susie. That'll be $100,000, sir. People, this is insanity. This is demonic. This is evil. We have to be willing to call it that. How much lower can these people go? And how much lower will you allow them to go? This is a story I heard. It was a movie I saw. It's a Stanford prison experiment. It's interesting. You can see it. You can rent it, I'm sure. But it's a true story. This psychiatrist took his students and he put them into a part of the building, and they simulated making that part of the building a penitentiary. And they made some of the students correctional officers and made some of them inmates. And he wanted to see if normal human beings could turn into Nazis, if they could turn evil, if you gave them enough power and authority. Sure enough, at the end of the experiment, he allowed the officers to understand that they could do whatever they wanted. There could be no holds barred. You can get away with anything you want to get away with. And it was amazing what those officers end up doing. It got so bad that the psychiatrist put a stop to it, an abrupt stop to it, had to end it. He was amazed at how passive the inmates had become. And he was also amazed at how aggressive the officers had become. So they were doing a post-mortem to see what psychologically had happened to these people. And it was this interesting dialogue that occurred. One of the most sadistic officers, the one that had become the craziest one of all, was sitting there. And the inmates who he had taken advantage of started screaming at him, saying, man, what happened to you in there? Why did you go so crazy? I mean, why did you just flip out like you did? What was going on with you? And the guy said, I was doing my own experiment. They said, you were doing your own experiment? What type of experiment were you doing, man? What type of freaking experiment were you doing? He said, my experiment was, I wanted to see how far I could go before anybody would stop me. And nobody did. That's where the Democratic Party is right now. They're going to see how far they can go before anybody stops them. You think they're just going to stop with the dope houses? They're not going to stop till they have every one of your children injecting. And then they're going to have them prostituting. And then they're going to start getting involved in pedophilia and start going after your younger children. They're not going to stop until we make them stop. Hitler didn't stop till we made him stop. Mussolini didn't stop till we made him stop. Crazy people are not going to stop. They don't know how to stop themselves. And these people are evil or insane. And you have to stop them. All I can do is ring the bell. That's all I can do for you, player. People tried to ring the bell about Hitler. They tried. Y'all want to talk about Trump? He crazy, he Hitler. Psh. Donald Trump ain't talking about putting dope houses in your neighborhood. He's talking. He's not talking about taking your guns away so you can't defend yourself against the government or from hoodlums. He's talking about allowing children to get out of these failing schools with school choice. He's talking about making sure that that border is secure so that the fentanyl and the drugs does not come over. He's talking about getting the government out of the way of you and your relationship with God so you can pray again, so you can send your children to schools again that match the ideology of their mother and their fathers instead of going against it. He's talking about stopping these wars all over the world, where the Ukrainians are being slaughtered and the Russians are being slaughtered and the Israelis and the Palestinians are being slaughtered. The world is on fire. And what is Biden doing? What are the Democrats doing? Opening up dope houses in your neighborhoods, allowing fentanyl and illegals to come all around the country, locking your children in schools. They don't educate them. Snatching grabs, fighting in the street. You can't turn on the TV or watch X or YouTube without seeing jokers just acting a fool, just breaking in the store, stealing stuff. Wonder why Biden losing? That's why he's losing. Well, the economy is doing well. Everybody got a job. Man, but you got people kicking in your doors. You got illegals leaping on your lawn. You got people doing snatching grabs all over the place. You got carjackings where people just getting shot. One of the saddest stories I ever read in my life. This guy with special needs only had two fingers on each one of his hands. He got into a scuffle with a guy in Washington, D.C., and some young girls, all of them younger than 15, saw him push the guy down, and they said, "Can we fight him?" And the guy said, "Yeah." And these girls beat this man to death. Just beat him to death. He's special needs. And they just beat him to death and had fun doing it. We're living through an inversion of virtue and morality, where good is bad and bad is good. Right is wrong and wrong is right. We've got a society that is so perverted and so reprobate, they don't even know the difference any longer. I'm telling you today that the Democratic Party is putting crack houses in your communities. I'm telling you today they are sexualizing and sexually grooming your children. I'm telling you today they're taking away your right to pray to your God, for you to keep and bear arms to defend yourself against them when they come for you. And I'm telling you they're replacing you by bringing illegals across that border and selling them in your neighborhoods. You have a decision that you have to make. Whether you're going to be the biggest fool in the world and allow them to destroy you, or whether you're going to stand up as a free man and a free American and say, "No more, I'm tired," and take your nation back. So I want you to go to my website. Go to ThisSpeaksTruth.com. There you will find some of the things that I've been working on. You'll see my great documentary, Will You Go to Hell for Me? It asks the question I'm still asking you right now. Will you go to hell for the Democrat Party? Some of you are. So I ain't talking to you. If you want to go to hell, be expeditious about it and just go. Not going to run behind you. Get this documentary. Share it with your friends. It'll tell you things you've never heard before about this party and why it's the most dangerous institution, the most evil institution in the history of the world. My first book was The Iron Triangle. Book Authority gave this book number 61 on the greatest political books ever written in the history of the world. It talks about how the black preacher, the black politician, and the black civil rights worker are only conduits between white liberals and the black community. How they're getting paid to keep you under their heel. Yeah, they're the Iron Triangle. They're the enemy in your midst that you have to look out for. Get this book. It's irrefutable. It'll give you the information you need to get these people off of you. Then you get 25 Lies, one of the best-selling books ever. It talks about the 25 of the Democratic Party's worst, the damnable lies, how to refute them. It's a handbook on how to defend yourself and educate yourself against the wiles of this evil institution. And my latest book, Crime Inc., talks about how the Democratic Party uses these mafia tactics to keep their power and keep their control here in the United States of America. And you can look, and it teaches you how to look out for them and defend yourself against them. People, I am here to wake you up. I hope that you are as tired of these people as I am. I hope that you are as tired of seeing them destroy your communities and kill your children as I am. It is time to send them packing. I'm just here to share some information with you. Hope I did you some good today. Hope I enlightened you. I hope you're not going to allow the crack houses in your community. I hope you're going to allow God to come back. And I wish you nothing but happiness. So join me next week for the Vince Everett Ellison Show.